Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy. Welcome to the last lap. In today's video, we're going to be giving you guys our 2023 NASCAR predictions. So we're going to give you guys our 16 playoff drivers that we think are going to make the playoffs, and then we're going to give you guys a few other predictions that we think are going to happen throughout the season as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We've been wanting to do this video for a while, and it's finally time. So we'll go ahead and hop into the video. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me as always, and here we go. A new season is right around the corner, and I think we're both ready to get it started. So, Matthew, how you feeling as we do these predictions?
Man, can you believe it? We're literally almost just a week away from NASCAR racing back in action. I've been telling you what, this all season been long. This has been long, especially for me. But I'm so looking forward to next weekend. But if anyone that is will not that can't wait for no week, the Rolex 24 is on this weekend, which I'll probably watch some of it because it is at Daytona. It is the iconic Rolex 24. So there's some racing on this weekend, but the main topic, which is NASCAR that we talk about, is next weekend.
All right, so I'm just gonna hop straight into it. I'm gonna give you guys the 16 drivers I think they're gonna make the playoffs. Then I'll let Matthew give us his 16, and then we'll each go back and forth about some predictions we're gonna see throughout the season. So, for me, my 16 playoff drivers, the first three are three Hendrick Motorsports drivers: Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron. I expect those three to make the playoffs. Not much of a surprise there. Next on the list, I got two Chevys. I have Kyle Busch making the playoffs with his debut with RCR, and I have Ross Chastain making the playoffs as well. Going down the list, Joey Logano, I have him making the playoffs, defending champ, always a championship threat. Have to have him in there along with Denny Hamlin. I think he's going to make the playoffs. Christopher Bell as well. I think he's going to have another strong year. Very impressive year last season. I didn't expect him to win multiple races and be in the championship four, but I at least expect him to make the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., I know he didn't make the playoffs last year, but I expect him to do so this year, whether that's with a win or just running consistently. He was in the points battle last year, but there were just too many new winners that knocked him out. And Ryan Blaney as well, him and Truex are basically fighting for that last playoff spot until Austin Dillon won at Daytona. So I think both of them make the playoffs. I think Tyler Reddick, he makes the playoffs with 23-11 for his inaugural season with them. And I think Kevin Harvick, I think he makes the playoffs in his final season. And these final four drivers are, some of them are kind of bold, I guess you could say. The first one, maybe not so much, but Daniel Suarez, I have him making the playoffs once again. I could expect him to win at least one road course race or be pretty strong, just like his teammate Ross Chastain was, and point his way in. Next up, I have Bubba Wallace making the playoffs this season. He was very strong last year in the 23-11 car. Kurt Busch, he won in the 45 at Kansas, and then Bubba followed it up and won at Kansas in the fall. So, I mean, even if Bubba doesn't win, I mean, I don't know. The 23-11 cars, they were really good on intermediate tracks last year. Bubba was good with his teammate at Kansas with Kurt Busch. He could have won that race. He could have won Michigan in the middle of this summer as well. And then obviously he won at Kansas in the fall, and he almost won the Daytona 500. So between the mix of super speedways and 23-11's intermediate program, I think Bubba Wallace has a strong chance to either win or point his way into the playoffs this year. And these last two are kind of bold. I'm going to say AJ Allmendinger makes the playoffs. And I say that because there are several road courses on the schedule. I think AJ Allmendinger will win at least one of those and punch his ticket to the playoffs. And the last one, I think Brad Keselowski has a chance to make the playoffs this year. I know last year wasn't so good for RFK racing, but you can never really count out Brad Keselowski on a super speedway track. And they were making progress towards the end of the season, towards the end of the regular season, start of the playoffs. Him and Chris Buescher both started running very well. He was running really good at Bristol. Chris Buescher won at Bristol, so I think Brad Keselowski has a decent chance of making the playoffs this season. So those are my 16 drivers. I'll just run through them super quick to just remind you guys. But Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, AJ Allmendinger, and Brad Keselowski. So those are my 16 playoff drivers. Matthew, if you have any comments about mine, you can say that, but go ahead and tell everybody your list of 16 drivers that you think are going to make the playoffs this year.
Well, that is an impressive playoff list that you have. If you heard any noise in the background, sorry, I was getting all my stuff set up here while you were talking. But so I'm just gonna go over my prediction of the playoff grid. So I'm gonna go with Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron, and I'll put Alex Bowman in there as well. Even though he did have a not so good season last year, I think I don't know how he'll do this year, but I think he'll still be able to win and make the playoffs. So that's why I have him on here. Then I got Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick. I think Kevin Harvick will also win in his final season as well. I think it'll be at least one win, in my opinion. Then Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch with his brand new team will make the playoffs. I also going to say Daniel Suarez will make the playoffs as well. And I think that team is just going to get better this year. Now, let's see. As for the last couple of spots here, um, I'm going to have AJ Allmendinger on here because of all the road courses on the schedule, but it's not just the road courses. I feel like even on the ovals, he has just improved on significantly, and I think he's going to do I think he's going to be very underrated this year, in my opinion, on the oval. So I have AJ Allmendinger in the playoffs. Also, am going to put Martin Truex Jr. in the playoffs, even though he did not win last year. But I think this year he's going to bounce back, and I think he will win this year. So I have him on here. Oh, of course, Joe Logano. Don't forget about him as well. I don't know why I almost forget about him. Let's see. I think that's 15. As for the last spot here, I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace as well. I was going back and forth between him and Austin Dillon because I know Austin Dillon may not be like the flashiest driver, but he has made the playoffs like more times than not to be, and it's more times than not the past few years. And I feel like with Kyle Busch, he would get better. But I'm going to put Bubba Wallace on there because especially the second half of the season, this team he really took off. Besides the Las Vegas controversy, he was able to win at Kansas, and he was getting so many top fives and top tens all of a sudden. So I think he's going to carry that momentum to 2023. As long as the team does not have a bad beginning of the season like they normally do, as long as they don't have that, I think they have a really good shot of winning early and getting the playoffs. So I got Bubba Wallace in that spot. I think that's 16 right there. I believe
Yep,
so.
that is 16. I'm surprised that we matched on 15 out of the 16. I just had Brad Keselowski. You had Alex Bowman, so I'm
I'm
surprised we
surprised you
matched
left
on
Bowman
15 of
out
them.
though, man. That's a Hendrick guy right there. They're gonna leave him out of the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 3 Joe Gibbs cars on both our lists in the playoffs, but
Well, it's
um,
Ty Gibbs though. He's a rookie. Alex Bowman's been in the Cup Series for a while though.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like he, I just don't feel too confident in Alex Bowman. But now we're gonna go into 5 predictions we have for the season that aren't playoff related. It's just random predictions that we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my 5. This is a kind of very early one in the season. It has to do with the Daytona 500, but I believe that Ryan Blaney or another Ford, but specifically Ryan Blaney, will win the Daytona 500. Ryan Blaney has been close so many times. He almost won it in 2020 when him and Ryan Newman got together. He almost won it last year. In he was leading coming to the white, or he was trying to make a pass on Austin Cindric, got put in the wall. So I think this might be Ryan Blaney's year to win the Daytona 500. But if it isn't him, I feel like it's going to be another Ford because they're always up front, right around the checker flag in the Daytona 500. Next, Ty Gibbs will not win a race in 2023. I guess that's kind of obvious now that he's not in my playoff grid, but I do think that he will beat Noah Gragson in the Rookie of the Year battle. I think it's going to be very close between Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs, but I think Ty is just in better equipment at JGR compared to Noah Gragson and Petty, or not Petty GMS. Wow, I'm gonna get so mixed up saying that. Legacy Motor Club equipment. So I think Ty Gibbs is going to beat Noah Gragson in that Rookie of the Year battle. My next prediction, there will not be 16 different winners that make the playoffs. I do not think we're going to see a repeat of last year with 16 different winners, and I don't think we're going to see, 19 different winners last year. I don't think we're going to see 19 different winners in total at all either. So that is another prediction. Kyle Busch, he will have multiple wins in 2023. I feel like him being over at RCR in the number 8 car that had a lot of success last year, winning 3 races. I feel like Kyle will kind of have that momentum on his side and just a little bit of extra motivation this year. You know, being with the new team and everything that happened with Joe Gibbs Racing, I think he'll win at least 2 races next season. And then finally, I think Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick are going to have multiple wins next year. Tyler Reddick, he already had 3 last year. And like I said, talking about Bubba Wallace earlier, he's good at the super speedway races, and 2311 has picked up their program very well at the intermediate tracks. So I would not be surprised if him and Tyler Reddick both have multiple wins next year. So those are my 5 predictions for next season, or 5, I guess, kind of bold ones for next year. So, Matthew, what do you have to say about some of those? And go ahead and tell everybody some of your predictions for next season.
Well, I'm kind of salty you decided to rob my Kyle Busch prediction there, but I'm still going to keep in my prediction, but I'm going to have a little twist to it. So, I'm going to start off with AJ Allmendinger. I put him in my playoffs, and I think AJ Allmendinger will be a dark horse when it comes to playoff time. If he does make the playoffs, which I did predict, I think he will be a dark horse because there is a road course on the schedule, which is Charlotte Oval, but also, like I said earlier, he has gone way better on the ovals, in my opinion. I think the Xfinity series has helped him get better. I mean, I think back to Homestead last year where AJ Allmendinger basically ran the top 5 almost the whole race. And I feel like AJ Allmendinger is going to surprise everyone. So that is my first prediction. My second prediction is going to be about an open car, Jimmy Johnson coming back. I'm predicting that Jimmy Johnson will get at least one top 10 out of his 5 starts he's going to do this year. He will get one top 10. Where will that be? I have no idea, but it could be the Daytona 500. That's probably going to be the best guess. But yeah, that's what I'm predicting. Jimmy Johnson will get a top 10 in one of his starts. And then my third one is going to be about Trackhouse, where I believe both Trackhouse cars will win multiple races this year, and both cars will get into the round of 8 this year. They were close to last year with Daniel Suarez just barely getting out of the second round. He got knocked out in the second round by barely. But I think that changes this year. I think both of them will make the to the round of 8 in the playoffs, and they will win multiple races. And then for my fourth prediction, I will say Kyle Busch will win 4 races this year. That's right. I'm going big right now. I'm going with 4 races compared to his 2. I think he's going to take it personal this year, especially in the second half of the season where they got some chemistry going. Because I believe it will take a little bit for Kyle to start getting the hang of things with RCR. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think by the second half of the season, this team's going to take off. So better watch out for those eight guys. So that's my fourth prediction. Now, for my final prediction, I think I'm gonna go with a Daytona 500 prediction as well because I will be there for that race. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do some. I'm actually gonna go a little bit crazy on this one. I think Austin Cindric will go back to back at the Daytona 500. I know I didn't put in my playoff prediction. I know that just kind of counteracts things, but I made this one up at the fly. But I just want to do some, a little bit crazy with this final prediction, be a little more creative. I think Austin Cindric will go back to back Daytona 500s for the first time in, well, quite a long time, I think. So that's my crazy prediction, and I just made up out of the fly just now. So yeah, those are my predictions.
All right. Do you want to sub out Alex Bowman and put Austin Cindric in?
You know
Or
what?
you just
Sure.
want to? Okay. All right. I'll do that. All right.
I'm sorry,
There we
Bowman
go.
fans. I'm sorry.
Now it's accurate and consistent. So, um, cool. All right. Well, those. I'm a little bit surprised you have Kyle Busch winning 4 races next season. But I if it happened, I would not be surprised.
Guaranteed.
Just because
Guaranteed. He will win 4 races.
I mean, yeah, it has been a couple years since Kyle Busch has went off and won quite a few races, but new team could spark that. So I would not be surprised if he goes off and wins 4 races like you predicted. Um, Trackhouse winning multiple races. That's kind of like mine with 2311, except switched. So that's a good one there. Jimmy Johnson, that's a good one. I didn't think about that. Jimmy Johnson getting a top 10. Yeah, I like that. I think. Did they say how many races he's doing this year? I don't think they even said how many races he's doing this year yet,
I
right?
think I heard some. I think they said they're going to do 5 races, and one of them is the Daytona 500, which we know, but we don't know the rest.
Yeah, that's a good prediction there, or good bold prediction right there. One top 10. I think that's achievable. Hopefully, he can get that done. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. Do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and finish the video out?
Not really. Just man, I just can't believe how fast this off season is flowing by, and we're already getting ready for a race weekend.
Yep. So okay, I've one small thing I just thought of off the top of my head. So there was a test session at Phoenix, and they were trying mufflers on the cars, and oh my gosh, the comments I've seen about that, I'm like the sound of the car, it's barely even a difference compared to the normal. It's barely even a difference compared to the actual car, and people are whining and complaining. They're like, "Oh my gosh, why are you putting mufflers on the car?" This might be a hot take, but I almost think it sounds better than like the previous, like than what they had on it before. That may be a really hot take, but I think it sounds just as good, if not better than that. But yeah, I just want to quickly say that. Just I don't get people like the cars still sound really good. I don't know why they're fussing and complaining about a muffler going on a race car, but anyways, that's all I really have to say about that.
Well,
Do you have
Jimmy,
any?
Jimmy,
Good.
but you should know by now that NASCAR is home to the whiniest fan base of all sports. You should know that by now. It doesn't matter if it's something positive or negative. They're gonna cry about it because that's their nature. And I mean, look, how about let's think about this for a second. We're trying to get back to Nashville Fairgrounds here. You know why we haven't been there yet? Because of all the neighbors complaining about the noise. With these mufflers now, that makes it more possible to race at the Nashville Fairgrounds again. So before you start crying like a bunch of you know whats, you should think, use your head for once, which they don't really do that. And just think about, hey, we can actually race at a classic short track like the Nashville Fairgrounds that we had this. That's something positive here. But unfortunately, they don't. They just, you know, they make other fan bases look uh, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. But yeah. I do like though that NASCAR is doing this. It does help with the clash and Chicago street race with the any complaints that they might get.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry to damper the end of the video here for you guys, but those are our playoff predictions along with some crazy predictions that we might see throughout the season. So let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let us know maybe some dark horse drivers you might have making the playoffs, maybe some star drivers not making the playoffs, maybe some bold predictions throughout the season, like how many wins a certain driver is going to get. Let us know. We would love to hear those down in the comment section. But until the next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.